All right. Hey, you. Thanks so much for tuning in to the morning brief. My name is Corey. It is Friday, April 9th, and things are looking like the tides are changing. If we take a look at the S&P futures here, you can see the overnight session is looking like it's
Block
putting
sell.
in some long liquidation. So yesterday,
Block sell.
during the regular trading hours, we closed on a spike. Yeah, good morning. Is it Claudio? Uh, yeah, good morning. In any event, so like I said yesterday, we closed on a spike. So we know that that's an unfinished auction and it was yet to have been confirmed. And then in the overnight session, we continued up bullish. We put in a weak high, so you can see these two candles up here with an equal high, almost looking like a double top on on the two candles. Put in that weak high, and then we flushed downward. We were not able to hold this high volume node, and all these longs got trapped. So that's definitely going to weaken the market because people that bought up in here are unlikely to buy again as they were just stopped out. So what I'm seeing right now is we're trading back into yesterday's value area. So this imbalance that was created, the spike and the trading in the overnight session, has been rejected, and it's saying that these prices are unfair for the buyer, and we're seeing a pretty massive reversal setting up right now. So I am hard bearish today for my bias. I'm expecting a retest of yesterday's low and a potential breakdown. If we look at the NASDAQ has actually already broken through yesterday's range, as you can see here. So here's yesterday's range on NQ. You can see it's really, really tight and choppy, very narrow range. And in the overnight session, we had this beautiful V-top, and then again a very aggressive flush downward. Put in some consolidation near yesterday's POC, and now we're continuing to sell off to the downside. And yeah, hey Wandering, good morning. So like I said, guys, I am very bearish today. I am expecting this to turn into what's called a 1R to 2I day. If you read Jim Dalton,
We have
you
a
might
new
remember
week
that
low.
terminology. So basically what it means is you have responsive activity outside the prior day's range. So we have responsive sellers up here. They are responding to higher prices because they feel that price is at a premium. And then they go from responsive to initiating. Initiating activity is when you are trading beyond the prior day's range. So basically, it's where you traverse the whole range. You have responsive activity here, and then you turn into initiating activity. And initiating activity is the stronger of the two types. If you aren't familiar with these terms, I do have some videos on them. They're a little bit older, but you can go back and see what the difference is between responsive and initiating, etc. Like I said, that's the NASDAQ. I bought some SPXU calls today. SPXU. That is a an inverse on the S&P. Let me pull up TradingView here, and we'll take a look. Take a look at some charts. I also bought AMC looked like it was reversing yesterday, so I bought a call then. But I'm not sure how tightly correlated it is to the S&P and whether or not it's gonna link up. So, in any event, this is SPXU right here, and not much movement in pre-market yet. It's up just like a tick, basically. But if on the open here, depending on our opening location, I am expecting this to hopefully gain some movement. The only thing that concerns me is that the volume is really low on this, and granted this is like a 1 minute chart. Let's switch to a 1 hour. And so yeah, and this lack of volume here definitely coincides with the lack of volume that we've had on the daily chart on the S&P. You might have anticipated this reversal by looking at the daily chart and you can see that the progressively lower volume day after day. So yesterday's volume was again under a million contracts, which is really really low for the E-minis. So yeah, I've basically been anticipating this reversal since this range back in here. In any event, so what I'm looking for today, like I said, I'm looking for a break of yesterday's low. I think we'll continue downward, and come back down to the what is this? This is the monthly VWAP right here at 40.54. So that's, that would be a decent target, I would say, and that's right at the bottom of this previous area of balance. So sorry, I have a trade on right now. I'm short 2 E-minis on the S&P, so I'm kind of watching both monitors at the same time. And it's right in the middle of a pullback, which is, right when your nerves are going to be flaring up a little bit. So let me take this off for a second so I can kind of show you something live here. So you can see that I'm up half a point right now, and I'm watching my footprint chart to see, the levels of aggression. Up here at the top, it's kind of faint. It says 55, so that, or excuse me, 25. So that means since the bar made a new high, the cumulative delta. This is something you call like pullback delta. So it basically measures the delta after you make a new high and then start pulling back. And this one measures the delta after you make a new low and start pulling back. So I watch those. I want to see the red number up here, getting higher. And then whether the bar is green or red is basically the delta. So like at this particular price, delta is long. There isn't a balance there. So I look for that kind of stuff, and I'm watching support and resistance levels here on Jigsaw, so I can see a heat map where all the big liquidity is. And I like these charts fairly well. You can also see that it shows the larger trades here with these volume dots. And then up here I have a really really fast, this is like my scalping chart. It's a 15 second. And then I just have a delta indicator right down here. So if you don't know what delta is the difference in the number of buy market orders versus sell market orders. So if we look right here, so that's a buy market right there, 11, versus buy market, or excuse me, sell market, 5. So these are the aggressive orders that are actually going to eat through the floors and ceilings. So these are limit orders in the book waiting to get filled. You can see we have a fairly, a bigger order here at 40.85. You can see big volume coming in on the buy side. So that might be a little bit of a red flag for me as per whether or not I want to stay in this trade. And I'm looking for a bounce, but we're eating through that ceiling. It has traded through, so I might need to pull this. I am still definitely bearish, so I try to stick with my long-term bias and not get too rattled by short-term changes in the order flow, because you can end up leaving like a lot of money on the table, or you can end up getting trapped because you see something that happened that was just like a temporary fluctuation. Excuse me. So anyways, so that's basically where I'm at right now. Hopefully the delta will pick up here and we'll be able to see some decent selling and get back in the money and hopefully retest yesterday's low. So that's where I'm at for today. Like I said, I'm definitely bearish. Oops, sorry guys. This friggin' thing. I mean, you can see the NASDAQ again right there is just selling off really, really hard. In any event, let's talk about some equities, guys. So, anything in particular you guys want me to take a look at today? If you have any tickers you're trading or questions or concerns, please throw it in the chat and so we can all go through it together. I know BTC is definitely doing pretty well, so I'm hoping that some of you guys caught the entry back down here when we were putting in this inverse head and shoulders. And basically right now, I mean, this trend looks really strong, and we're coming back up to the $60,000 level, which is a very large psychological number. Yeah, I mean, if you're a trend trader, just getting in on the pullbacks and then getting out on the spikes, in, out. You could take profit here, re-enter here, etc., etc. But yeah, BTC is looking good. Once we break through that 60,000 barrier, it should definitely open up some higher levels for us. And all right, so what I'm gonna do,
Order
my
filled.
ES trade, the S&P futures I just closed. This pullback is a little bit more. They're just pulling back a little bit more than I expected it would. So you can see the point of control did move down here in the overnight session. That's definitely good because it means that we are getting more acceptance down here at the low. We can also see that the point of control is migrating lower relative to yesterday. So we always want to think of the point of control and the value area as kind of our gauge in terms of sentiment. So the point of control is otherwise known as like the fairest price to do business. So both the buyers and sellers agree that this is a fair price. And when the fairest price is dropping, then that tells us that the overall sentiment is changing and is bearish. So these are one of the things that I look at every morning is the point of control migration. Anyways, let me go ahead and get TradingView up, and let's take a look at some setups.
Block sell.
So the big question today, like I said, is if the S&P is going to be very bearish, then you probably don't want to be opening up, new long positions, depending on the context and how highly correlated it is to the S&P. So, like I said, some of the things you can do is trade the inverse ETFs like SPXU. That's one of them. So that's a short S&P ETF. And like I said, I bought calls on this today. Or you can buy puts on stocks that are highly correlated to the S&P. So you can see GameStop here is breaking down. This is actually a pretty decent short setup. You can see that we have this key support level right here, right around 169. And we're only down a penny in pre-market, but if we break through this level, we have a very big low volume node right in here, basically, where price flushed through very quickly. So you're likely to come all the way down here and probably retest 120. So as far as puts goes, I think that's pretty solid. And bear with me.
Order submitted.
In another contract on ES here because we're starting to move.
Order filled.
Okay. All right. So yeah, GameStop looks good here. And let's see what else we got in here. All right, Walmart been very bullish, and I knew that this was one of the trades that I pointed out in the weekend wrap. I think it was maybe the last weekend, or maybe it might have been 2 weeks ago actually. The main reason because of this really big unfilled gap here, and I knew that the market was likely to come back up and repair that poor structure. So essentially, I would just be looking for continuation on this trend and to come all the way up to retest that pivot high at 147.98. So again, this is Walmart, ticker WMT. All right, I want to see what oil's doing today. I know that the oil producers have been pumping more than they should have been. So this is ticker DRIP, drip, and this is an inverse on oil and natural gas production. So basically, when oil is going down, drip is going up. So you can see we've got a pretty nice setup here with we've got a higher low We do have slightly lower high though. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It just means that we potentially are going to have more longs that are going to be trapped here. So I would just be looking for continuation on this. Granted, this kind of stuff is extremely correlated to what the oil futures are going to be doing. So I always look up the oil futures ticker CL. So if you want the trading view ticker symbol, it is CL in the very top left. CL1 exclamation mark. And that, like I said, that's the ticker for the oil futures. And if you trade any of those inverse ETFs or the leveraged oil ETFs at all, then you really, really want to be paying attention to this. Anyways, so we can see here we're in a really, really tight range. Let's
Stop
see.
filled.
Oh man. All right, the S&P is continuing to rise here. Damn it. Just trying to see where the current price is at. 59.41, I believe. Yeah, 59.41. Okay. So we are right about where are we? 59.41. All right. So here's where we're at currently. So we're just really chopping around in this very tight range. But that is not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that there's a lot of energy getting built up because these longs and shorts are fighting over the same ground. So potentially we might get a really nice aggressive breakdown as we break out of this symmetrical triangle. Alternatively, it could break to the upside. So
Block
definitely
sell.
wait for definitely wait for confirmation. But if this thing does break out, regardless of which way it goes, you can definitely profit on it by jumping on one of those leveraged ETFs like DRIP. So, all right, guys, we got 10 minutes till the open. Opening the floor again for questions. If anybody has something you want me to take a look at, please throw it in the chat. Apart from that, we'll just keep on trucking here. I want to see what AMC is doing here in pre-market since I have that call still, and hasn't really moved. You can see that yesterday it tried to V-bottom and then it got rejected at that trend line. There's just trading sideways for a while, put in another V-bottom, and now we have a little bit of a weak low, and then we're down again in pre-market. So the only thing that concerns me, sorry about that, is really this weak low because it's an unfinished auction. So if we break below here, then I am definitely switching my bias to short. Note that we have a major trend line right at this spot.
Buy.
So it has the potential to bounce from here definitely and continue much higher. However, with the way the S&P is acting this morning, it also poses a potential breakdown right there. So either way, we definitely have good potential to make money here as well, whether you're long or short. If we switch to the hourly chart, I'm going to show you that trend line I was talking about here. So this is, just for the context, this is the trend line I was talking about. And if it breaks down from here, it has the potential to, drop considerably lower down to like 750 or something like that. So that's pretty much it. Cool. All right, guys. Well, I'm probably going to wrap it up a little bit early this morning. I'm curious to see what the S&P is going to do here. Considering we've already probed into yesterday's value. So basically what I'm looking for at this point is, for this pullback to continue, I would imagine it shouldn't be able to get above the overnight VWAP. And then I want to see continuation to the downside. And then ultimately, this is the decision point when we get to yesterday's low. If we because basically at yesterday's low, that's going to tell us whether we're going to stay in the range and it'll bounce, or if we get this breakdown, and then it should turn into a very,
Block
very
buy.
aggressive selling day. Cool. Yeah, I'll bust out CLOV here really quick, and then I'm gonna get going.
Block buy.
We have a new weak sell.
Okay, CLOV. So this is looking pretty decent. The only thing I would say is that it's down slightly in pre-market, but not enough to be of any major concern. We have a very nice trend line right here, and we have a bit of a weak high, I would say. So this thing pulled back just a little bit here in pre-market. So what I'd be looking for is maybe for it to come back down, retest this resistance turning into support. I'm looking for a bounce and then a potential breakout above $9, and then you've got plenty of levels above there you can use for your targets. Sorry about that. That's better. Yeah, you too, Wandering. Thanks for being here. All right, guys. Well, be careful today. Like I said, the market has just been going up on weak volume day after day after day, and I was definitely anticipating this reversal. So just be careful. I always recommend watching the internals, because it is a really, it's a really helpful way to get a generalized understanding of what's going on in the market. Something like watching the advanced decline, which shows you the ratio of stocks that are green versus red on the day. Advanced decline is ADV DEC.NY. You can see in the top left there. So it's just like having a thermometer, just like a temperature gauge, something to kind of give you a generalized idea of what's going on. So I definitely recommend using something like this, because yeah, today could potentially sell off quite a bit. Yeah, you're welcome, Manal. Thanks for being here. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Good luck today. Thanks so much. Watch your risk, and we will see you for the weekend wrap, 8:30 p.m. on Sunday night. We'll be going over the news, and I'll give you guys some good setups for the week, that kind of stuff. So, again, that is 8:30 Pacific time on Sunday night, the weekend wrap. And that'll be live on YouTube and TikTok as well. So, awesome. All right, guys, take care.